Hi, good morning. Today is our fourth day of focusing on fables for writing. I want to talk to you about what we're going to be focusing on today. Our task today is to understand and identify common morals in a fable, which we've done a lot in reading in the past, being able to figure out what it is that the author is trying to teach us. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to make a list with me of the common morals that we would see in Fable. Sorry. We're going to analyze the tortoise and the hare's moral and explain it together. And then you're going to independently analyze the boy who cried wolf's moral, and that will be in a Google form for you guys to complete. And then you're going to have one more exit ticket, and that will also be in a Google form. And it's going to be you guys picking a moral that you're going to be basing your fable that you're going to create around. All right, so what is a moral? It says, what are some life lessons we all learn? We've all learned since we were little to be kind to others, to be honest, right? We've also learned to treat others the way we want to be treated, right? The golden rule. Think of some other lessons that you have learned in life. Okay. A moral is a lesson learned about life. These are life lessons that teach us how to be good people in society. So that means these are things that we would use that teach us to be good people in the world. All right. In Aesop's fable, Aesop decided to include a moral or a lesson learned at the end of the story. The characters in the fable experienced a conflict, and when it gets resolved, they learned an important lesson about life. After reading, we will decide what the moral of the story was. All right, so what are some common morals? Some common morals are be kind to others. Slow and steady wins the race. That means don't rush, take your time, put in your best effort. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't look at somebody and think that you know who they are just on the outside by looking at them on the outside. You don't know what type of person they are inside. And the other one, the golden rule, treat others the way that you want to be treated. All right, so let's do this together. Are you ready? So this is the Aesop fable of the tortoise and the hare. I'm going to reread it, even though we've read it a few times now. And we're going to be thinking of these things. We're going to be thinking about what is the moral of the fable, what's the meaning of that moral, and what lesson can you learn from the story. All right, so the tortoise and the hare. A hare was making fun of the tortoise one day for being so slow. Do you ever get anywhere? He asked with a mocking laugh. Yes, replied the tortoise, and I get there sooner than you think. I'll run you a race and prove it. The hare was much amused at the idea of running a race with the tortoise, but for the fun of the thing he agreed. So the fox, who had consented to act as a judge, marked the distance and started the runners off. The hare was soon far out of sight, and it made the tortoise feel very deeply how ridiculous it was for him to try to race with a hare. He lay beside a course to take a nap until the tortoise should catch up. The tortoise, meanwhile, kept going slowly but steadily, and after a time passed the place where the hare was sleeping. But the hare slept on very peacefully, and when at last he did wake up, the tortoise was near the goal. The hare now ran his swiftest, but he could not overtake the tortoise in time. So slow and steady wins the race. So what is the moral of this story, of this fable? The moral of this fable is slow and steady wins the race. What does that mean, though? I could sit there all day saying slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady wins the race. But what does that really mean? That means that you do not have to be fast to get things done. Being slow and taking your time, you can accomplish what you need. And the lesson, so what lesson can you learn from this story? The lesson that we can learn that being fast and foolish gets us nowhere. So think about this hare, right? This rabbit. Here he is thinking oh, I'm so fast. I can go, right? And he's bragging, and he thinks that he's just the best, right? But then he's foolish because he makes a very unwise decision about going and laying underneath the tree, right? And taking a nap because he thinks, oh, no, I have no problem. I'll be able to get there, right? But we learn that being the fastest, right? But also being foolish and not making good decision will get us nowhere. Now we're going to reread The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Then you're going to go and complete an exit ticket that is on Google Classroom that will have these 3 questions. And also where, hold on one second, buddy. I'm in the middle of a video.
Mommy?
Nope, I'm in the middle of a video. Let me finish my lesson. Sorry, guys. So what I was saying was we're going to read this. Then you're going to go on Google Classroom and you're going to complete an exit ticket that will have these 3 questions. It will also have a question where you are going to decide what moral you want your story to be based around. What lesson do you want your readers to learn at the end of reading your story when we get to that point? So let me read The Boy Who Cried Wolf. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. A shepherd boy tended his master's sheep near a dark forest not far from the village. Soon he found life in a pasture very dull. All he could do to amuse himself was to talk to his dog or play on his shepherd's pipe. One day, as he sat watching the sheep in the quiet forest and thinking of what he should do should he see a wolf, he thought of a plan to amuse himself. His master had told him to call for help if a wolf were to attack the flock, and the villagers would then drive it away. So now, though it is not seen anything that even looked like a wolf, he ran toward the village, shouting at the top of his voice, "Wolf! Wolf!" As he expected, the villagers who heard the cry dropped their work and ran in great excitement to the pasture. But when they got there, they found the boy doubled up with laughter at the trick he had just played on them. A few days later, the shepherd boy again shouted, "Wolf! Wolf!" Just as before, the villagers ran to him, only to be laughed at. Then one evening, as the sun was setting behind the forest, and the shadows were creeping out over the pasture, a wolf really did spring from the underbush and fell upon the sheep. In terror, the boy ran toward the village, shouting, "Wolf! Wolf!" The villagers heard the cry. They did not run to help him as they had before. "He cannot fool us again," they said. The wolf killed a great many of the boy's sheep and then slipped away into the forest. So, again, you are going to answer on an exit ticket. What is the moral of this fable? What is the meaning of the moral? And what lesson can you learn from the story, from this one, from The Boy Who Cried Wolf? And the last question will be, my moral from my fable will be, so when you go to do your writing, what did you want your moral to be based around? Have fun and enjoy, and I cannot wait to see what lesson you want your reader to learn. Have fun.